Come on. I ain't scared of you. I'm the best. Hello everyone, welcome back to This Guy Tackles All of the MCU. Today we're on Iron Man 3, let's go. I don't know why, but this always felt like one of the most badass openings to the MCU, opening with the song Blue. I have no idea why, it's just always stuck with me and I've always found it really badass every time it gets started. What a difficult movie to talk about, huh? Part of me really likes it, and then part of me is always really disappointed by it. Regardless of whether you or I think this is a good or bad movie, you can't deny that this movie is wholly unique compared to everything else that's come before. It's a Christmas movie. We don't actually have any others. Actually, we will with the new Guardians Christmas special thing, but until then, this is the only MCU Christmas movie we have. And on top of that, this is the only Marvel movie I can think of off the top of my head, I could be wrong, that tackles mental illness, or at least anxiety, very heavily. I feel like I should state, just before I keep going further, that this is not another Iron Man film done by Jon Favreau. For those who don't know, it was done by Shane Black, this guy from The Predator, and he takes it in a very different direction. And I really like how he tackles anxiety in the film. Am I the only one? Okay, we're gonna take it back a sec. Am I the only one on the planet that wanted an Extremis movie and not a Mandarin movie? As a kid, not knowing too much about the Mandarin, it was like we're taking it right back to Iron Man 1 and dealing with terrorists again. And it felt especially underwhelming considering everything we just had with the Avengers at the time. And I don't know, I just wanted an Extremis movie. I actually really wanted Aldrich Killian. But that aside, that does not excuse the way that they treated the Mandarin as a character in this film. We will get to it all. Spoilers already, if that wasn't made super clear, sorry. Full spoilers, it came out fucking years and years and years ago, so there's your warning. This is very much Shane Black's Iron Man 3, and I think that's the problem that a lot of people have with this, because he went into it making what he wanted Iron Man 3 to be and how he wanted Tony's character to wrap up, with no regard to what fans wanted or the direction that the MCU was overall going in. And to cover that up, he probably used the term that I hate the most, subverting expectations. Right, I think this actually runs into a lot of the problems that the second film had, where it wants to be this deep dive about Tony and show us some stuff we really want to see, but then at the same time it wants to be a summer blockbuster film and have all the action. And it can't do both. In rare cases, movies can, but in these instances, no, they haven't been. Let's talk about Aldrich Killian. So, Guy Pearce, my guy. I know him from Memento, I love it to death. My girlfriend knows him from Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. If you don't know what that is, don't look it up, because it'll ruin Hugo Weaving for you as well. So who is Aldrich Killian in this movie? Well, he's this guy. And this guy. And that girl. And nothing else. He's that same stereotype you've seen over and over to death. And it shits me because he's a brilliant actor. We could have gotten something mind-blowing with him. He could have been great. He could have been to the levels that Loki is within the MCU now. And could have blown Extremis into something much bigger than just the one movie it was in. Now, to be 100% honest, I wouldn't entirely mind if the Mandarin was used for just a joke. Sure, he's a brilliant character and it could have been handled way better, but it wouldn't end my fucking world. But don't go ahead and hype him up like he's going to be some omnipotent force and he's going to be incredible with these terrorist videos and really pull you in to just trick you. Not with a character like that. What it should have done was something a lot like The Force Awakens. Now hear me out, that's a whole other movie altogether we can talk about later. But that movie didn't market Luke Skywalker at all. He wasn't on the posters, he wasn't anywhere, but fan expectation made us all believe he was going to be in it and they were hiding him for a surprise and he's going to appear. They just want to not show him just yet. But he's there for a scene right at the very end, and well, the only people we can be mad at is ourselves, because it was our own expectations that wanted us so much more, and they didn't promise that he was going to be in it and be everywhere. But this marketed the shit out of the Mandarin being a force to be reckoned with, and for that you pissed off every single person that loves the Mandarin. So villain-wise, honestly, Killian or Mandarin, I wouldn't mind either one, but pick one. This film is like tiptoeing around and not making up its mind. Oh, but Killian is the Mandarin. That's even worse. Like, Killian's not Killian then, and Mandarin isn't the Mandarin. If it wanted to just do Killian, do that, and ignore the Mandarin altogether, it feels like it's on the verge of cramming too much in. But look, I feel like I'm getting too negative. Let's talk about some fun stuff for a bit. I love the Mark 42. This thing is killer. Definitely one of my favorite suits, and one of the last great suits that I really liked in this series. And it feels strange because, despite it just being a piece of armor, it feels like it's got a bit of character. I love the color scheme. I think it's solid as hell. As a kid, I'm not really sure why, but my favorite suit was the Iron Patriot. The name's nowhere near as cool as War Machine, but the thing looks fucking awesome. I really feel like Robert Downey Jr. brings a whole nother dimension to this character. A whole new layer of depth. He's not just Playboy billionaire Tony, and he's not just Tony that wants to destroy all the weapons that he's made and make up for past mistakes. There's also a Tony that fears and has anxiety, and it's not surprising. I mean, you went through a wormhole and there were aliens and shit. Feeling like the weight of the world's relying on you to keep it safe can do your head in. I would imagine, at least. But with all this anxiety stuff and PTSD, I think he portrays it excellently, and I really do think he brings a whole nother dimension to it. It's solid as hell. Some of the best stuff he's done so far. Back to this film being unique. It's not just a Christmas movie, it's also narrated, which I don't think any other Marvel film has either. It also has a real sense of scale, like when the mansion's being destroyed and all the suits are exploding, that Tony's losing everything. And then again, it tackles the mental health issues, and I know the movie's a bit of a mess, but I would rather go out and watch this again than watch, say, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Although that movie is really fun and a great time, that's all it is. It's just fluff. It's just fun. There's nothing more to it, where this feels really unique. It's something different from the other Marvel films that you can go to and experience. I really love that the movie strips him of everything again, back to how he was when he was in the cave, when he has to infiltrate the Mandarin's place with nothing but like Christmas bulbs. It really humanizes him and brings him back down to our level and shows us his power is not his suit, it's his intelligence. And that Iron Man, the suit, isn't the hero. He is the hero. I love the plane scene. I love that there's this real urgency to it and that you actually have no idea how he's going to get out of this and how he's going to save these people. I still think that scene's brilliant. The kid in the film completely slipped my mind. Massive part of it. He's good. He's not an annoying kid. I actually really like him. I don't have too much to say on him. He has some really good back and forth between Tony, and he's not annoying, which is the best praise that you can give a child actor. Really liked him. Really liked how Tony didn't hold anything back and talk to him as if he was an adult. There's the underdeveloped ex-girlfriend in the film. She just doesn't add anything. I mean, when you look at the big picture of everything, she's there. She dies. That's it, really. You don't feel too much. You haven't been given enough, because we're so concentrated on all the other things that are thrown in to understand this character and really give a shit. So she's there, she dies, but Gwyneth Paltrow, I don't know what it is that's different from Iron Man 1 and 2, but it feels like she's just got so much more to do in this movie, rather than trying to run Stark Industries or to just be there for Tony. And they make this really ballsy move towards the end that they pull out of last second, and I wish they kept with it. We're in spoilers, so I'll just talk about it. It's when they make the choice to kill Pepper. Now, they pull out of this going, no, we can't kill her. That'd be too ballsy, and maybe it's their whole subverting expectations thing again. But can you imagine if they did? I think it would have been brilliant if they kept to their guns, because from that point forth, if you think about it, she doesn't really have that much to do in the rest of the MCU. And if they'd killed her off, it only would have further motivated Tony in Age of Ultron to build the suit of armor around the world, that he doesn't want to lose anyone again. It for sure would have made this movie much more memorable and have a much bigger impact than what it did. Not only would Tony be losing his mansion, his suits, but if he lost the love of his life as well, it would just, I feel like it would really enhance and boost the films that come after. Because after that, she just doesn't have much to do. You might as well have done it. But Gwyneth Paltrow, as far as she goes herself, she does great in the movie. So then the film starts to Shane Black itself again, and it wraps up so deliberately. Tony gets the shrapnel out of his heart, all of his suits explode, he throws his chest piece into the sea, his armor was a cocoon, and now he is free. And it ends like that's the end of the MCU forever. It really feels like this is what Shane Black wanted to do, and it's not. Actually, I think I understand why it was done. See, this would have started its production before the Avengers released, and Iron Man was successful enough that it was clearly going to get a trilogy, but they didn't know if the Avengers was going to be a success or not, so they thought they'd wrap up Tony's character anyway, just in case they never got a chance to do any more. I think that's why they did it. But as we know, that didn't happen. It kept going, and all it really does is just throw a couple spanners into the continuity of everything that's happened. It's a tricky movie to talk about because for every pro I find, there's also a con. I don't think the movie's bad. I think it has more good than bad, but because of those cons that come in all the time where it can't pick a villain and it plays with the mental health just to throw it away and be a superhero film, that it's only slightly above average. So, Iron Man 3 is going to get a 6 out of 10. It's good, but it could have been great. Can you imagine if they'd stuck with their guns to do the Mandarin? Or if they'd even gone ahead and gone full Eldritch Killian Extremis? It could have been something spectacular, but it gets pulled from that stuff to just be another superhero movie. It's definitely worth watching, and they're going to try and give the Mandarin another go in Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, which is coming, but what's the point anymore with everything that's happened with Tony and where the MCU is at now? Do we really care? So what did you think of Iron Man 3? Let me know below, because this is an interesting movie to talk about. I still don't know how I really feel. I like it and I enjoy watching it, but I don't ever find myself wanting to go back to it. This film feels much bigger, so it's like an event you've got to commit to instead of just putting it on in the background. I don't know. If you haven't already, consider subscribing because we have a lot more Marvel movies to talk about. It'll be Thor: The Dark World next. If you've made it all the way through to the end of the video, you're a bloody legend, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.